drones are, you are being attacked. Now, what kind of a situation is this? They call us a friend, they call us an ally, they call us a partner, and yet they come and hit our territory. Of course, I mean, I can understand up to a point that, yeah, they are chasing Al-Qaeda leaders and Taliban leaders. But why can't we do it?
India made a lot of hue and cry that should you give them drones or should you give them AWACS and any other aerial reconnaissance platform, then it may be used against us in our future war. And therefore, since they had a very big strategic relationship coming up with India, so India was able to scuttle some of these deals, and definitely anything which they thought could be used on our eastern border in a future war with India, they never gave us. And this is the attitude even today.
Pakistan has had an abiding security concern vis-a-vis its larger neighbor, and there are reasons. There is a history of conflict, there is a history of unresolved disputes which remain unresolved as we speak, and thirdly, it sees an Indian military deployment which is still aimed at Pakistan. Given this context, Pakistan's security concern vis-a-vis India are surely understandable. But at the same time, Pakistan has in recent years perceived that India has pursued policies in Afghanistan which somehow add up to a kind of a strategic encirclement of Pakistan. So therefore, Afghanistan in a way has in more recent years become a new arena for an old rivalry between Pakistan and India.
India, we keep blaming that they have a very large number of consulates over there. And the type of interest which they are taking in Afghanistan is much beyond what they did in the past. And therefore, their presence is too much. This Kabul to Iran highway has been constructed by India, spending, I think, $1.8 billion free for Afghanistan. So why should they be doing it except for their own national interest, geopolitical interest, and against Pakistan?
Any new policy for Afghanistan stabilization, indeed for strengthening of Pakistan, must, I believe, incorporate some way of addressing the adversarial relationship that exists between Pakistan and India. I think President Obama said the right thing before the election and immediately after the election too, when he said that the road to Afghanistan stabilization lies through a Kashmir solution. But as we all know, the Americans backed off when they saw that there was an Indian reaction to any US involvement in trying to broker a peace in Kashmir.
That backing off, according to Foreign Policy magazine, resulted from stealth Indian lobbying. According to government records, India paid lobbying firms $2.5 million. Pakistan paid half that during that same period just for trade issues. In the same report, a Washington insider says the move to remove India from Holbrooke's official mandate actually opened up the door for dialogue with India.
On his maiden visit as special representative to Pakistan and Afghanistan, Holbrooke passed through India. At the time, the Swat-Nizam-e-Adl deal was being brokered.
India, the United States, and Pakistan all have a common threat now. For the first time in 60 years since independence, your country and Pakistan and the U.S. all face an enemy which poses direct threats to our leadership, our capitals, and our people.
Upon arrival in Pakistan, Richard Holbrooke met the President of Pakistan and the Prime Minister. He was casually chewing gum.
United States has got sucked into Afghanistan by choice, not necessity, but by choice. But they didn't realize that they're getting into a situation from which they will not come out smelling like a rose. And I think a lot of effort at least during the Bush period, was being made to make Pakistan a scapegoat for the failures of American policy in Afghanistan.
Actually, we are not clear about the American design in Afghanistan. And at least I kept asking them. I said, what exactly are your goals in Afghanistan? Have you come to conquer Afghanistan? Or have you come just to kill Osama bin Laden and these Al-Qaeda? I said, if you were interested only in Osama bin Laden and Al-Qaeda, then you should have asked us to seal the borders before you went in for Tora Bora. You should have surrounded Tora Bora yourself, and then you should have gone in for Osama and Al-Qaeda. You would have surely got him, and definitely Pakistan would not be blamed that all these terrorists now have shifted to Pakistan.
6 years after 9/11, the Pentagon completed its first review and decided to help Pakistan build an effective counterinsurgency force. And in 2008, the U.S. started giving Pakistan $75 million to train the FC.
The kind of funding which is available to the militants either from the clandestine sources or the drug money which is available to the militants in this area, and the kind of motivation, whatever way it is there with them. So therefore they realize that they must build the capacity of Frontier Corps, and this they have started in shape of training the trainers as well as replacing the old equipment, providing them heavy weapons, and training the trainers program of FC. This is an ongoing process, and they have developed a funding program which will be available to the FC every year.
I would only add to that that security assistance focuses on equipment and training, lessons learned, and integrating those as rapidly as we can.
The biggest disaster, according to Richard Holbrook, is the botched anti-narcotics program in Afghanistan. When the Taliban were in power, drug production was virtually zero. Now it has gone up many-fold.
As per UN estimate, in 2007, there was 8,200 tons of poppy produced in Afghanistan. And as a rough estimate, the cost, the international price of this poppy was close to $4 billion. And as again a rough estimate, that about 10% of this is available to the militants, which is a huge sum in the tribal areas.
So why didn't the Americans crack down on drug trade?
Drug lords in Afghanistan can't operate on their own unless they have patronage somewhere else. After all, where do these drugs end up? They end up on the streets of Los Angeles and New York and Washington and London and Paris and Berlin and Moscow. So obviously there is somebody out there promoting trade, drug trade in Afghanistan.
This war is increasingly coming into Pakistan's heartland, and the strategic consequences of losing Pakistan are far greater than the strategic consequences of losing Afghanistan.